Foreign Secretary Alan Cayetano on Monday defends the Philippine ambassador to Kuwait after he was summoned by the country's authorities for rescuing overseas Filipino workers allegedly abused by Kuwaiti employers. Cayetano confirms Philippine Ambassador Renato Villa was summoned by Kuwait at least 3 times. Kuwait's foreign ministry gave Villa 2 protest notes. Cayetano says Kuwait questioned why the Philippine embassy conducted rescue operations, even using a rescue vehicle with a diplomatic plate. But he says the Philippine embassy coordinates with Kuwait's interior ministry as well as local authorities on rescue operations like these. Cayetano also says cases of abused OFWs are cases that could not wait. On reports, Kuwait told Villa to return to the Philippines within 3 days. Cayetano says Kuwait didn't explicitly say this. He gives the assurance that the Philippine embassy meant no offense. State-run Kuwait news agency says local authorities arrested 2 Filipinos for allegedly urging Filipino maids to escape their employers. The Philippines earlier banned the deployment of OFWs to Kuwait upon the orders of Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says he asked officials of the Boracay task force to give media covering the island's closure more freedom during coverage. The task force had earlier announced that media workers would only be allowed inside Boracay from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. during the 6-month closure. Media will be required to spend their nights outside the island and would have to be accompanied by escorts while in Boracay. Roque says, quote, "I do agree that media does not sleep and that, of course, a comparison was made between Boracay and Marawi. I said there are no improvised explosive devices in Boracay." He adds one of the suggestions was to provide media cards to journalists so they can be treated as residents of the island. Based on the guidelines, the accreditation of television networks will be limited to a maximum of 12 people, while the accreditation for radio, print, wire agencies, and online platforms will be limited to a maximum of 5 people. Issues have been raised about the constitutionality of the media restrictions, with legal experts saying it can be considered prior restraint. Grab says it sanctioned nearly 500 drivers last week following an internal probe into mounting complaints of cancelled ride bookings. It says some drivers were suspended for 3 to 5 days. No further details or breakdown of the sanctions were given. Grab Philippines Chief Brian Koo on Monday says they will continue to suspend or completely ban from the platform drivers with a 10% or above cancellation rate per week. Koo blames the ride cancellations on the Land Transportation, Franchising, and Regulatory Board order to suspend his company's 2 pesos per minute travel charge. He says, quote, "Driver cancellation rate doubled at 11% last Friday and Saturday and were predominantly driven by low fares. As a result, drivers drove less and Grab was only able to service half of the passenger demand." Alexander Kogan, the psychologist behind an app that harvested data from 87 million Facebook users, defends his role in the scandal Sunday. Kogan says he never heard a word of opposition from Facebook. His app, This Is Your Digital Life, was downloaded by 270,000 people and also gave Kogan access to their friends. The data was passed to British political consultancy firm Cambridge Analytica and was used to help elect United States President Donald Trump. Cambridge Analytica blames Kogan for misusing it, but Kogan claims Cambridge Analytica and Facebook are using him as a scapegoat. Kogan says he is sincerely sorry for the data mining, but insists there was a widespread belief users knew their data was being sold and shared. He says, quote, "I had a terms of service that was up there for a year and a half that said I could transfer and sell the data. Never heard a word." Kogan says, quote, "Facebook clearly has never cared." Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, is in the early stages of labor and is admitted to a hospital in London Monday. Middleton and Prince William are expecting their third child after Prince George and Princess Charlotte. The baby will be fifth in line to the British throne. The baby prince or princess will be the sixth great-grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II.